Very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivan Jabela. Tonight on the platform we are joined by Heinrich Hafeni. He is a well-known entrepreneur in the tourism space and hospitality space, and he is here to share with us information about an upcoming, a very important gathering that is coming up in May. It's called the Invest in Africa Trade Expo and Business Summit. Thank you very much, Heinrich, for making time. It's been a minute since you came to our platform.
Yeah,
Did we mistreat you the last time?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan and follower.
Yeah,
I'm of your platform.
Yeah.
I never miss the evening reviews, and it's an honor to be back since the last time I was here, and to share the work we are doing there in Swakopmund.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The Expo, it sounds like a very important platform. Invest in Africa Trade Expo and Business Summit. If you can summarize it for us.
No, thank you, Toivo. Yeah, I am the co-founder and president of the Africa Economic Leadership Council. It's an organization that was we founded in 2021 with my brother from South Africa, Mr. Percy Koji. The aim and objective of establishing the Africa Economic Leadership Council was merely inspired by the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement area that came into operation in 2021 in January. So we've been talking about starting an organization that will connect African entrepreneurs and creating economic summits and platforms. And hence, obviously, the motivation by the 54 African countries is agreeing to establish trade cooperation among African countries. I think that's how we started. I think to complement the Africa Union Agenda 2063, and which Africa is economically strong. And in the past, when you look at the statistics of African nations trading, intra-Africa trade, it was at 17%. And the Africa Continental Free Trade, with its AU Agenda 2063, has a vision to achieve at least 53% intra-Africa trade margin among Africans. Compared to when you look at intra-Europe trade, they're trading from 60 to 70% with one another. The Americas are doing almost the same percentage margin, but Africa in the global world is the lowest trade margins. So hence the continental free trade is a largest single market, meaning of 50, combining of 54 African nations with a combined GDP of 3.4 trillion US dollars. You have a market of 1.3 billion people. So it's a single market which is open an opportunity to Namibians and Africans to navigate and to do business in other African countries. And that's what Africa Continent, hence the Invest in Africa Business Summit is a third edition that we're actually hosting it now. Before we themed it Discover Namibia Intra-Africa Trade Expo, we started it, and this is the third edition in Namibia. And what we are trying to do is, we do know that the Namibian government, being a signatory of the Continental Free Trade, is doing a lot of education work, encouraging and promoting the opportunities for Namibians to benefit through the Continental Free Trade. And us as a private sector organization felt that we can also play our part and create this platform where we invite subject experts from the Secretariat in Ghana to come and present the current success story since the inception of the Continental Free Trade. At the same time, also engaging the Minister of International Trade and Relations, the ED and the AFTA leadership here, which is headed by Mr. Nashikaku, to be able to also engage Namibians of what are the current businesses that have benefited from the after. We're talking about the salt that has gone to the West African market. We've got meat that also have gone to the other market, to the African market, and then we also have got other products. So this expo planned to expose hence the theme, unpacking the continental free trade, because we know that there is a need for advocacy, a need for awareness, a need for education. Because the entrepreneur, if I can tell you, Toyo, you go to Okangwati or Kachina Kachi and ask an ordinary Namibian what is the Africa Continental Free Trade, SME, they will not tell you, they don't know anything about it. Hence, this expo will create a platform where there will be that, now you know what is the opportunity of the Continental Free Trade. During the expo, I know you will be asking me more, there will also be the exhibition, where we are inviting Namibian and African business people to come and promote their goods and products at this expo. At the same time, we also have the Africa Business Gala Dinner and award ceremony that will also take place. So we have a 2-day conference, and that 2-day conference is very important. We also will talk about oil and gas. We also will talk about funding the African entrepreneur. We'll also be talking about but the first one, obviously, we have the official opening, which we expect that our government, obviously we are still awaiting news from the government to officially open this event. But we did extend the invitation to all our friends. In the meantime, I think in a nutshell, it's just to say that the Invest in Africa Business Expo focuses more, compared to your ordinary expos around the country, ours mantra is more about exposing the continent and inviting the continent to come and discover Namibia as an investment destination. At the same time, also give opportunity to Namibians.
Absolutely. As someone who's in that space, an entrepreneur yourself, what do you think have been the stumbling blocks around really, exploiting the opportunities that are presented by the Africa Free Trade deal that is in place now? Because once in a while you see in the media that, I read recently that Midco, for example, has sent some hides, cow hides to Kenya, I think it was. Just bits and pieces. There was salt in the coast in your region. There was a company that sent some salt somewhere. But it's really far apart. Why can't we have more of this happening on a regular basis?
And I think in most of the companies that you've mentioned, Toys, those are big companies. And we have SME, small businesses that are producing goods. Obviously, there is an opportunity. And again, we go back to, do the majority of the small businesses and the business at large in the country or on the continent know about this new opportunity, this trade, after trade opportunities. Hence, I think that's why only a few know about it. They have the capacity. Hence, obviously, the small trader, the cross, we talk, it's a service industry, tourism, intra-Africa tourism. We can be able to package Africa continent through this, services and goods, logistic, the cross-border traders. But like what you have mentioned, why can we not combine? And I think that's part of the conference, the discussion to say, what are these, based on other countries, we look at the ECOWAS, these are 8 blocks, economic blocks that came together from SADC and ECOWAS to come up with the Africa Continental Free Trade Framework. So instead of, before we used to be SADC, ECOWAS, Sahel, the East Africa market economy, but now there's a combined one legal economic document that Africa can trade. But that's why this will be so successful. That's why we are talking to governments. There will be a panel discussion of governments to discuss, to say, and that's why we have the secretariat and the subject expert on the after of what is the success story. The future, how do we combine products, goods and products, instead of sending one by one? Can we not have one marketplace of goods and products from Namibia? Mopani worms, we have got our Mopani worms here, we can send them to other African markets. We've got our Mahangu. The farmers can, so there is massive opportunity, and I think that's why we are creating the platform, because like you've asked and say, we can do more. And we do believe that through this conference, especially with our moderators, is to be able to get, when you as a conference delegate, we want you to be able to know, I'm also in the agriculture chain. I've got products in our Zambezi or wherever, these are green schemes. We are producing a lot, but we don't have a market. And Zambia over there needs these products. And that's why the government is government together with private sector. And that's why private sector will play a critical role to guide the policymaker of the AFTA agreement or in the local government to be able to get to point B.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in a nutshell is that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go for a very short break, if you can state in not so many words the free trade element, because maybe, I mean, for those that are watching, free trade means what?
Free trade means that it talks about tariffs. Currently now, it means that you are protected. There is incentives for you to trade in the African markets. In the past, there was no incentive. There are non-tariff barriers. There are tariffs. I think there was about 6% before, and you were not protected as an entrepreneur. You go to Lubumbashi there with your cargo, you'll be stuck there at the border. For you to get over, you need to be able to know somebody where you can give something to somebody for you to get your merchandise across. So the free trade means that the 54 African nations that have signed this is a legal document that enables the government to give. There is a problem with DRC and entrepreneurs are facing there. The government will talk to each other that there is some loophole here that is preventing that as we have signed. So the free trade means that there is free movement of goods and products. Tariffs, I mean, they did negotiating the tariffs to be zero, to go to zero, so that there's no more, because currently now, if you travel before the continental free trade came into effect, you have to, it's expensive to trade in the continent. That's why it's better to do business with China because it's cheaper. But in Africa, it was ridiculously expensive because there were no legislation for you to do. So the free trade, it means that it's incentives. There's certain things that you as an entrepreneur, what is your problem? Why can you not do business with Angola? And that's what you go now to. I think there are those subject people, policy, who are crafting up that and making you to go to take your product to across the border.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. We go for a very short break and return with Heinrich Hafeni. We are talking to Hafeni Heinrich Indipaya, and he is here to help us understand, of course, the very important Invest in Africa Trade and Expo Business Summit. It is scheduled for the 28th to the 30th of May?
Yes,
Yeah, wonderful. As a private sector operator yourself, you have a very famous establishment in is it Kwisamo? Where is it?
Swakopmund.
Yeah, but
Mundesa.
Mundesa, yes. What are some of the challenges that a man like yourself face? Obviously, you do what you do and you employ people. Are you cruising nicely? Do you face some things that you think maybe the state must intervene to get some of these barriers out of the way? And will that form part of the conversation at the Expo?
Yeah, I think, the good thing is, as the director of this investment conference, and I look at myself, I'm also an entrepreneur. And I know and feel the challenges. The small business people, the startups, they also want to become the Indongo group or the Old list of this country, or the Dangote of this Africa.
Yeah.
So there's massive challenges for African entrepreneurs, especially for us who are in the grassroots communities. I think I talked when I was at the Namibia Public-Private Forum. I shared my sentiments that 121 constituency, they are hard-working, consistent, dedicated entrepreneurs. But somehow, for 10 years, they continue to do their best with the little they have, but the support in identifying talent that will eradicate poverty in that 121 constituency, 14 regions, is we are not doing a very good job there. And obviously now, with this, for us, the reason why we do what we do is to say that young entrepreneurs, SME or entrepreneurs in general, from no matter where they come from, can come to this conference, and we are really calling up on them, and we know that we have a price that we charge, but we're really sensitive to know that these are also future entrepreneurs that also need an opportunity. So we want to accord all those who want to come to the conference to engage us, but at the same time, like mentors have told us, that you must pay something to be able to, if you want to become to climb the top, you must be able to also show your part. So, but there is a massive challenge, Rico, and the continental free trade is not known. It's known only, it's known only for, only few people know about it, a small percentage. Hence the government is also, that's why we are working with government, talking with government to say that we are a private sector organization. We are not a secretariat. We are an organization of entrepreneurs. We want to connect entrepreneurs. We want to get the small entrepreneurs on board. We want to make sure that the challenges that it's facing, access to funding, I mean, those are the challenges. You cannot grow a business without funding the entrepreneur. And I've been there for July, I'll be 15 years. But I'm a confident man, knowing that you don't define my success. I know I'm successful already, but I face challenge to be able to be where I am today. But because of the audacity to say, I am somebody, you know, I like Reverend Jesse Jackson when he said, I am somebody. And that is what motivates some of us to say that from Mondesa we can be able to also tell a good African story, because our stories can ignite and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs from grassroots communities. So the AFTA is a good, we need to be able to take the AFTA agreement to those communities. We need to put the AFTA agreement into universities, those who are studying entrepreneurship and business. So then automatically in the next 5 years, we will see Namibians doing business in Nigeria, Gabon, and Guinea. And that is the ultimate aim, what we are trying to do. But we are a long way to go to get, we cannot get to the top. We still need a lot of work to do. To how do we make sure that the entrepreneurs that are across our African communities that are doing a very good job, how do we make sure that we help them to succeed? So that's also what we are going to craft up on part of the discussion. We will give room to give also a small entrepreneur each opportunity to have their we also have a pitch competition also that we are going to be having as well, besides other things.
Do you think, I mean, government as the custodian of that free trade agreement in our country, what kind of support can they render to your event in practical terms? What can they do to sort of support the initiative?
I think, as I said, we're just creating the environment for private sector. We're a private sector NGO, and we do believe we cannot be successful without government. Because what we are doing is that they are the subject experts, or they have the technocrats that are able to unpack where are we since we signed the agreement, what are the success stories. Of course, government is the most important partner. That's why NIPDB and the Minister of International Relations play a critical role, because they are the agencies that promote trade in the country. And then I think, just like a chamber of business, you approach your mother to say, Mother, I'm doing this. So we have extended very well to our mother and say, we are about to create an exhibition, but it's going to focus on unpacking the continental free trade. We want you to help us and to assist us to get all the stakeholders on board, to get the young people from the 121 constituency to attend this conference. And then hence obviously we have extended to all the 14 regional governors and regional councils this information, because we believe that it's not just for Swakopmund or Erongo region. And then also we did also extend to the embassies, African embassies, through the Ministry of Trade. They have assisted us very well. So we are working hand in hand with the ministry to be able to unpack this and to arrange this activity to be a success.
Yeah. Well, one of the topics, of course, one of the big topics at the event, as you mentioned earlier, is the oil and gas topic. Typically, what do we want as a country? I mean, as a Namibian entrepreneur yourself, of course, you operate in a different space for now, but what do we want to see? Because there's a huge debate. People are saying, yeah, no, foreigners are coming and they're taking off our things. And people are saying, but you must also put capital injection into some of these things for you to increase your stake and stuff like that. How do you, what do you want to see?
What we want to see, the oil and gas, it's, we're discussing with the upstream, the leadership at the upstream presidency as well. We do know you cannot, this is the biggest economy, GDP contributor to our country in the future. I think we're talking about the next 5 years, according to experts. Namibia will start getting that oil and upstream, offshore. I think what we're doing, especially in the conference, we are talking to our friends in the oil and gas. We are saying to them, these are the Namibian SMEs, these are the African SMEs. Yes, there's a discussion to say it's a technical, very technical, highly technical industry. The people in the service industry, food, pulling the wheelbarrow. There are opportunities, just like in the mines we have in Erongo. A lot of SMEs are benefiting from these mines, procuring to these mines. So we also want to see that that's what Namibians can do, SMEs can do. That's what we're also trying to outline, to say how can Namibian entrepreneurs organize themselves in the next 5 years? What is it what are the opportunities that are available? Because also this is something that, just like the Continental Free Trade Agreement area, the oil and gas, there is still a much need advocacy. It's very expensive to attend the oil and gas conferences. Ordinary Namibian cannot afford to. I mean, if you look at the prices, they are very cumbersome. But we are now inviting, and we have a presentation about oil and gas opportunities. But all I can say is that we're inviting all those young people who are interested in business, who want to learn, because Expo, what Expo do, I mean, I remember when I founded the Switex as a chairman of NCCI Swakopmund many years ago. You know, we did that. It became one of the biggest expos in the country. We created a platform for entrepreneurs to come showcase their products, entrepreneurs to come and learn from leaders, executives who have done it before. And that's what we are going to do. We're busy. We've been having meetings left, right, and center, talking to executives their being opens doors and liberates other entrepreneurs if they're there. So that's what we're saying. Come on board. We are not literally, like as I said, we are not in it for money. We are in it to say that we must create a successful Invest in Africa exposition. We focusing on the continent, but we are also focusing on domestic trade. Very much, maybe I did not mention that it's not just about Invest in Africa. There is a big component about our trade also. So promoting Namibia as an investment destination for Africa, promoting domestic economy and enterprises, and that's one of the core things. And that's why the green hydrogen, we also have green hydrogen on board. There will also be where we obviously, that's also a sector that has been very in the limelight for many years now. So Hafeni is also on board. We also have the diamond people, companies are also on board. And also not to mention that we have our African people from Nigeria, Cameroon, South Africa, Zambia, which will also be there to come in a perspective on the economy. And then we also have the embassy of DRC, and I think we also Kenya that will also come in So we've done the small team that we have.
Yeah.
We have actually, it's not easy to hey,
No.
sometimes I say myself that hey, Hafeni, go back to Hafeni Tourism Group. Why are you doing this? But somehow you feel like if we don't do it, who will do it for us?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
yeah.
You remind me of my time at the Editors Forum of Namibia, where I'm really suffering there.
Yeah.
It's voluntary. People think it's easy, but it's difficult. This voluntary work that we do for the industry that we are in. In 30 seconds, if you can just wrap up the ideas again against the dates and anything that you can tell us in final.
Mr. Toys, we are hosting this event. An event that is designed for Namibian entrepreneurs and African entrepreneurs. And those ones who want to expose their products and goods. 28th of May and the 30th of May 2026 in Swakopmund, the International Tourism Resort City of Africa and Namibia.
Absolutely.
So it's a 3-day event. We have a 2-day business conference. We have Africa Day Business Gala Dinner. We have exhibition space for a food court and a lot of exhibition from corporates. So we're inviting all the corporates, the SOEs, the ministries, because the people also want to know what does this ministry do.
Absolutely.
So we actually want to see all the ministry having their stand there, all the SOEs having their stand there. That's already support enough. And then all the agencies that are of importance of business in Namibia. Swakopmund is a heartbeat of Namibia economy. So we invite them to come. And the venue is at the CBD in the tennis court next to Strand Hotel, right on the beach. If they want to come and swim, they can come to swim also there.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. And we invite you also to come over, Mr. Toys. We are looking forward to have you to speak to the business people.
Absolutely.
And it will be an honor. We really extend the invitation to you and your leadership in your organization to have this platform there. Maybe we can talk about that after, but we will extend that invitation so that we have it right at the horse's mouth.
Wonderful. That is Heinrich Hafeni speaking to us about the upcoming Invest in Africa Trade Expo and Business Summit scheduled for the 28th to the 30th of May this year in Swakopmund. We are happy to have hosted you, sir. All the best.
Thank you, Mr. Toys. Thank you for always making a time for us.
Wonderful.
Who are dreaming about making Namibia the greatest place in the continent.
Absolutely. That is tonight's show.
Thank you.